Well, welcome everybody. I'm Liz Hargreaves. I am a level 2 human design specialist. I'm also practicing kinesiologist, certified BodyMind coach, and a student of somatic experiencing. So what I bring to you today is my coaching in terms of how I present conscious individuality and awareness and your human design. So this is something that came to me actually just over a week ago when I was teaching my course. And I talk a lot about patterns, habits, and beliefs, and mindset, and shifting, and then noticing how we do things in our lives. That's really based on things that were taught to us in conditioning. And it brought me back to my own human design because I started recognizing that some of my beliefs, habits, and patterns didn't feel authentic to me. It didn't feel that that I was living my truth. So I went back to my human design and started looking at it from a different perspective and came up with this concept that I'm going to show you today. And the reason that I love it so much is because you don't have to know anything really about human design other than where to find the sun, the moon, and the earth, and looking up the definition of gates. So it's really good if you're a coach or a leader or a mentor or just having conversations with people and wanting to help them and support them dig a little bit deeper into these ingrained patterns, beliefs, and habits. So going too quickly. So this definition I came across just around individuality is like, what does individuality mean? And I think that human design, our own blueprint, really shows us how we are each individuals. And this definition is the particular character or aggregate of qualities that distinguishes one person or thing from others, soul and personal nature. So this is our true selves. This is what I talk a lot about. This is what we talk about in human design. So here's the basis of what we are conditioned to think. So think about this as layers. So in the center, we have ourselves, our self, our identity, and our beliefs are really sort of our base level of consciousness. And around that, based on those beliefs, we develop patterns. And then based on the beliefs and the patterns, we develop habits. So it's pretty much, think about the layers of the onion. We always talk about peeling back the layers to really find out who you are actually underneath and in the core essence of who you are. So if we look at these 3 layers and starting with that base layer, the base layer is really our belief systems. And when we think about beliefs are formed in a couple of ways: by our experiences, inferences, and deductions, or by accepting what others tell us to be true, which is an interesting concept that I could talk a lot about as well, because I always question anything somebody tells me to be true. Most of our core beliefs are formed when we're children. So this is part of our upbringing, our families, what we're born into, the environments, cultures, anything that shapes us at a young age. Beliefs are also formed as a result of past hurts, traumas, and painful experiences. So all of these beliefs begin to shape our perceived identity and are relegated to the subconscious level. So what I want to stress here is that there's nothing bad. There's no good, there's no bad, there's no right, there's no wrong about beliefs. It's just what it is. And when we start questioning and being curious about beliefs, we can start actually understanding how they start forming our patterns and our habits. So when we go to that mid layer, sort of building that onion or a tree, whichever analogy you want to look at, we look at that mid-level consciousness, right? So the beliefs are really subconscious. These ones, we have a little bit of conscious awareness of them. You know, you brush your teeth with your right hand all the time. You know that you do that, but you just do it because it's a pattern. So it's a reoccurrence of 2 or more responses that occur in a prescribed arrangement or order. That's kind of the definition of a pattern. But patterns really develop through reward and punishment. So you think about learned behavior, Maslow, and you know, if you finish the maze and you're that rat and you get the treat at the end, you're going to develop patterns in order to receive the reward. Patterns are also an expression of unhealed emotional wounds, unconscious beliefs, biases, and stories we formed about ourselves and others based on those beliefs. So this is a really important layer of the belief system and the patterns that actually develop as a result of those beliefs. And I love the term bias as well, because that's a place where we have a conscious awareness of it, but we continue to do. So this is the level that's quite interesting to start exploring and gives you a little bit of insight into what those core beliefs are. So patterns of experiences, thoughts, or emotions develop as a reaction of past threats or traumas. Then we go to that outer layer, that surface level, and these are the habits. These are the things that are developed through reinforcement and repetition. You're not able to successfully play a tune on drum or an instrument without actually repeating those patterns over and over and over again. That becomes habitual. And once you understand why you do what you do, which are the patterns and the habits, you can start to explore the stories and the beliefs and the fears underneath them. Habits are really, really powerful. They actually create neurological cravings, and there's chemicals that are actually released in the brain that provide us with that pleasure, that reward. And there's kind of 4 stages of habits, and that's that cue, the craving, the response, and the reward. So you go back to the old psychology and the Maslow, the dog, and that's actually what's happening with habits. So keeping in mind this idea of base layer, of mid layer, and surface level. So you've got your beliefs or those stories, you've got your patterns, and then at the surface level, you've got your habits. And in our society, probably over several generations, probably even longer than that, we have learned that who you are is defined by what you do. And that is that surface level. So you think about the habits, the doing, that's that surface level. So it's sort of from the outside in. We do, therefore I am. And this becomes who we are, or sort of our identity. And I call it the do-be-am, the do-be-amming. If I do the thing, I can be the person I'm supposed to be. So that's kind of the very simplified version of this. In human design, we have the opportunity to express the full potential of our authentic selves. And we use the word authentic. I use the word authentic and individuality because every one of us is each uniquely individual. And when we bring a conscious awareness into our own human design, we can start shifting these ingrained patterns into this idea of individuality. And so I shift that do-be-amming into the am-be-doing. So it's a reversed, and this is an expression from inwards to outwards. When I am the expression, I can be the person and do the thing. And this is how Karen expresses it, and I love this. It's time to remember who you are, why you're here, and what role you play in the evolution of humanity. And this is so important in human design and where we're going as a collective into this next quantum field of humanity. and learning who we are and coming back to the expression of our true selves through our beliefs, through our patterns, through our habits, to really uncover our core selves. And so that's what I term, that's my term, is conscious individuality. So in order to kind of follow along with the concept of these layers, with the base level of beliefs, the mid-level of patterns, and then the surface level of habits, you'll need your human design chart. If you don't have that, you can go to the freehumandesignchart.com. And in order for us to work through this process, and I'm going to go through an example of this, Karen has just recently released her larger version of the Quantum Activation Card Companion Guidebook, which is available on Amazon. And I believe, Cindy, it's free for Kindle users. So we can probably pop that link into the chat for you.
Working on it.
So you've got this to come back to. So if you want to go get that later and come back and try this, what I'm going to do is take you through how I use the human design now and your blueprint to look through those layers, so that we can find that when I am the am be doing, when I am the expression, I can be the person and do the thing. So the first image I showed you was, the center was the image of the person, and then that was our beliefs. The middle was our patterns, and the outer is our habits. When I went back and looked at my human design and I was playing with this idea, I noticed that the sun, the earth, and the moon have the same expression as the ambi-doing. So we're gonna follow along and use this exercise. And it's a way to, I use it as a guide, as sort of a guidepost to sort of check in as to, where am I? Are my beliefs truth? Are they my truth? Are my patterns and my habits reflecting that truth? And if not, how can I come back to the truth? And the human design blueprint is a great place to start. So let's talk about the base layer. So remember, we talked about beliefs. And beliefs are those, past hurts, past traumas, anything that was taught to you as a child, your environments, cultures, anything that is that base layer. And from the human design, the sun sign in your human design chart is really the out expression of who you am and what you're here to give the world. And so if you were to take your human design and look at the gate numbers that the sun is in, have a look at the description in the Quantum Human Design guidebook or companion book, and look at what that soul life purpose is. So you're looking at both sides. I'm not, we look at the soul and the life purpose. So if you're on your human design chart, and again, I'm going to go through an example of this, but if you know your human design, look at your black and your red sun. Look at those numbers. Don't worry about the second number, just the gate number, and look up the description and read through it and think about and reflect on your beliefs. And are your beliefs reflecting the highest expression, or are you in the challenge? Are you in the low expression? And this is just a kind of I use it as sort of a check-in to see, okay, where am I? Why am I struggling here? What are my current belief systems? And then the question here is, how can you shift your beliefs, these experiences, biases, inferences, and deductions, to really and truly express your gifts, your genius to the world? So then we go to the mid-level. And again, that's the patterns. So the mid-level, remember, we talked about patterns are developing through reward and punishment, called learned behavior. And these are the unhealed emotional wounds, unconscious beliefs and biases. These are the stories we formed about ourselves based on those beliefs. And we look at the earth. So you go back to your chart, and the earth is what grounds you. This is the be. I get to be. This is what you need to be in order to be stable and grounded. And so again, you look at the definition of those gates and read it and let it sink in and look at your patterns. Are they expressing your beliefs? Are you kind of stuck in the low expression of those gates? And what are the keynotes? And then the takeaway question from here is, how can you shift your patterns, those unhealed emotional wounds, unconscious beliefs, biases, and stories, to become more stable and grounded? So as we go on, remember, we're going from the inside out now, the ambi-doing. We're going to the do. Here's the do part, the do. So this is the outer. These are the outcomes. And this is the surface level. These are the habits. And when we look at habits, I refer to the moon, because the moon is what drives you. This is what you do, why you do what you do. And so again, we take the gates. Where's the moon in your chart? You look at those gates, look at the definition and the expression of those gates. And it's an opportunity again to, what am I doing? We always ask that. It's just like, what am I doing? And the doing is that outer layer of your stories, your patterns, your beliefs. So are the things that you do in those description of the gates, are they reflecting your true expression? Look at the low expression of the gate definition, look at the high expression of the gate definition. And we're doing both black and red, the soul and the life. What are the lessons or challenges here? What are the keynotes? And the question again, how can you shift your habits? Reinforcement, repetition that create neurological cravings. Remember, that's like in your brain. There's actually a chemical released. That's a pleasure chemical. This is a place to reflect again and see if what you're doing is actually a reflection of your true expression, of your individuality. So the ambi-do. This is how it works. So my friend Lori, who is, I believe she's on Zoom, and Lori, please jump in if you want to say anything. She has offered her chart up. So here's how it works. And we're going through this pretty quickly today, just because I wanted to give you this, just kind of wanted to go through this concept and then open it up for questions. The takeaway is, when I am the expression, I can be the person to do the thing, starting from the center and working out. And you're going to go to your chart and you're going to look at those 6 gates: the sun, the earth, and the moon. So Lori, and I know Lori, and when I was working through this, I was really curious, because I don't know what Lori's beliefs are. And so her outer expression, this is the am part. She's got her sun showing up in gate 16 and in gate 59. And keeping in mind, when we go back to that original image, the center was the habits. Sorry, the center was the beliefs. I'm getting myself mixed up here. Your beliefs. So that's basically the core. And when we look at the expressions of the gates, we look at, is there a pattern of leaping into the unknown without sufficient preparation? Is there a sense of not assessing whether an idea or inspiration is actually an expression of mastery, leaping without looking? is there a low expression of this gate? Or is there a high expression? Is there a courage to leap into action and inspire others to act, even if you don't know all the details? And we look at these expressions of the gates, both the black and the red, the soul and the life, and you can sort of use it as a little bit of a barometer check to see if it feels that you are actually true to your own belief patterns, true to your own beliefs, and question it, be curious about it. If you look at gate 59, again, this is the I am, the outer expression. You know, the low expression would be feeling like you're having to fight or struggle to survive, feeling the need to penetrate others and force your rightness into them. Or are you trusting in sufficiency to know that when you create abundance, there's fulfillment in sharing? And so this is an opportunity to reflect on your beliefs, what your perceived identity is. Just going to have a look here, see if what color represents the soul. So the soul purpose is the black and the life purpose is the red. And I'm not distinguishing for the purposes of this, Stacy, just because I believe both of them are really make up who you are. So that's in a quick, this is how I use the sun expression, the sun gates. And we're going to go to the earth. So we go to that middle layer. And so we see that in the earth, and this is the being. What grounds you? What helps you stay stable? And looking at gate 9 and gate 55, gate 9 is gate of convergence and the gate of faith. And looking at the, again, what is the low expression and the high expression of those gates? Is there an unbalanced expression, feeling pressured to figure out where to place your focus, feeling overwhelmed and confused? That would really provide some instability. Gate 55, the gate of faith, indecisiveness, fear and lack, hoarding, leaping from others. So again, using the human design to as a check-in and a barometer check to review what your patterns are, that middle layer, the being, and expressing the full expression of both of these gates to actually step back into your individuality. So for Lori, the being part for her is the ability to see the big picture and hold the emotional frequency of energy for that vision. Betty Ann. Yes, so a lot of the, so in Karen's quantum language, we are moving away from talking about conscious and unconscious and personality and design. And we're using, instead of personality, the black, we're using soul, and red becomes design. So I hope that helps. But don't worry about the names. Don't worry about unconscious, conscious. Don't worry about personality. Don't worry about life. Just think about it together, because you need both of them. This is all of it. So as we go out to that outer layer, the moon, the doing, right? The moon, what drives you? These are the habits. And so look at your habits. This is kind of a fun place to start. Fun place to explore and experiment. What are your habits? What are the things that you just do without actually thinking? And using Lori's example here, when she's doing things on an everyday basis, is there fear and worry? This is gate of creation, is one of the gates around money and abundance. So is there a fear and worry about abundance? Is there a fear or an unwillingness to compromise your right work, to do whatever you have to do for material gain? And in gate 17, the gate of anticipation, so relative to the doing, what drives you, sharing opinions. So this is the low expression that degrade options, embracing opinions as truth and act on them. So looking at it again as that archetype of the gate, and you can be in any place of that archetype. And again, I want to stress there's no wrong or right. There's no good or bad. It is just where you are. And it's a place to start. It's a place to get curious. And it's a continual cycle too. It never ends. So it's always about peeling back these layers to really discover who you are, your I am. And we call that, the G center in the human design. But it's really coming back to your true authentic individuality, your conscious individuality. This is the am-be-doing. This is my am-be-doing. So we want to go away from the do-be-amming. That's the old way. Let's start from the center. Let's start from the am and be. So when I am the expression, I can be the person and do the thing. And when you start applying that phrase to whatever you're doing on a daily basis, you can develop a conscious awareness of your habits, your patterns, and your beliefs, and start shifting them to be able to express your authenticity and individuality. So for Lori, and she saw this, she said it's pretty wordy, but that's up to her to narrow down. So I took those 6 gates and I came up with just this. It's not a short sentence, it's a little bit longer, for her ambidu. This is her ambidu statement, right from her human design. The expression from the sun, earth, and moon. When I have the courage to leap into action and inspire others, trusting in sufficiency and abundance, I am empowered to hold the emotional frequency of energy, to trust that my vision of the big picture is to be doing work that will explore potentials and possibilities for the sake of transforming the world. And I know Lori, and she is going to transform the world. She's powerful. And it's just this ability to be able to use just these components of the human design chart for yourself, for your family, for your coaching practice, for whoever, is a nice, simple, easy way to look at habits, patterns, and beliefs and help people start shifting into their own conscious individuality by using their human design. Glad you're laughing, Lori. Bring on the transforming. This is how I express my definition of this process, and it's around integration and embodiment. As I said, when we're looking at sort of those layers and those beliefs, patterns, and habits, this is really a step-by-step process. It does not happen overnight. It's an ongoing process. So my belief is that when we're living consciously with an awareness and acceptance of all parts of yourself without judgment, we will reach that conscious individual state. So that's what I'm offering today in terms of a theory that I came up with. And I didn't realize I'd be done so early. That's great. We have time for questions. And I wanted to just offer that if anybody is curious about going through this, so I did a very, very short version of this because when we start digging into patterns and beliefs and unconscious, subconscious layers of belief patterns, there's a lot of stuff that comes up, and it takes a little bit of time. So I'm offering a $100 off with the coupon code QAS. You can follow the link at the bottom to book. It's going to be a two-hour session, probably a little bit longer, to go through your patterns, your habits, your belief systems, kind of taking those sections apart and then using your human design blueprint to put it back together again so that you have something to take away with you. So you have a statement, so you have, you know, something, a guidepost to be able to follow. How do you know what the numbers mean on the design side opposite to the personality numbers? Tabitha, are you talking about the next number after the dot? We're not worrying about those. We're just simply looking at the first number. So if I go back here, oops, and we're only going to see, if you see the body here, 16.1, we're not worrying about the 1 for the purposes of this exercise. We're just using that first number. So you'll see I'm not worrying about—
A follow-on question. She was just saying, are we supposed to get our numbers in the design side and the personality side to be the same number? And
sorry,
your design side and your personality side are never the same number.
Yeah, not with these ones. No. Okay, so I'm going to stop the share and I'll open it up to questions, unless anybody wanted to see a couple of the slides again for— okay, just reading this. Okay, so Renata, the result I got from my human design does not resonate with me at all. I've read descriptions of others and have resonated more with a projector rather than a generator. I know there isn't an error in the information I've entered. Could this mean I'm not living authentically? I'm surrounded by the wrong— it could be, you know, and without knowing anything about you, Renata, I mean, these are the questions that I would start asking is, it's, you know, we live, you have to honor the fact that we live in an environment where we are taught this idea of do, be, am, okay? So we've learned by the doing, we are being, and so that I am. And part of the process is really starting to get curious and starting to question everything. I'll give you an example. I have a client that I see on a weekly basis. In a conversation yesterday, we were talking about breath work, and she got stuck on the fact that, well, somebody who is an expert told me to do it this way, so that's the way I did it. And my response is that I always ask why. I'm always curious. I love hearing from experts. I am like a sponge for information, but I'm always asking why. And does that resonate with me and my true self? So, and when we start, as I said, peeling back those layers, you might actually uncover that your perceived identity of who you are may not be authentically you, your individual self. That's the beauty of this. So I hope that answers your question. Okay, Coletta, you said, oops, where do you see the sun, moon, and earth on your chart? So we'll go back to, I'll just use the example chart again. Okay, here you go. So hopefully that helps you, Colette. You're looking at the sun, which is that symbol with the dot in the middle, and then the circle with the cross, and then fifth down, which is your moon. Okay, thanks, Tabitha. Raised to feel that who we are is by what we do. And it's okay. Like, this is the biggest thing that I want you to take away. You are here because of the power of how you were taught. And when you think about it from that way, and this was a bit of a lightning, there's a little bit of a light bulb moment for me in working through Gay Hendricks' Conscious Luck book. We have the power to be able to change our beliefs, and we have done that through our lifetimes. And we talk about conditioning. There's nothing wrong with conditioning. I'm a projector. Part of being a projector is being conditioned. I have to plug in. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just what I do with my clients and what I ask is, can it get any better? Can it be more to my truth? And starting to ask those questions, starting to just pull it apart a little bit. And you'll discover that there's a lot more there. Okay, just looking at more questions. I'm not sure on the Facebook page if I'm not on that, Cindy, so I don't know if there's questions there.
There hasn't been questions. There's been.
Okay.
Anna said, "You're a great teacher, very aligned to hear this today."
Oh, thank you. You know, and it's so funny because I said, as I said, I'm a projector, and I have a wide split, which means it's almost like I have two different personalities sometimes, and it's the truth. But I also have a defined gate 57 on my spleen, which is gate of instinct, but it can be very paralyzing fear. And I was experiencing that today. So, you know, human design has been life-changing for a lot of reasons. And now taking what I do in helping people really start to become more aware. And this is the biggest thing, is just having an awareness of why you do what you do. Why do you brush your teeth with your right hand? Why do you tie your shoelaces up in a certain way? And breaking it apart, it's like, try brushing your teeth with your left hand. It is difficult. Try writing with your left hand. It accesses a different part of your nervous system. So you start sort of pulling apart those patterns and those habits. And different beliefs start to rise. You'd be amazed at how much subconscious stuff is underneath all of that. And we're talking generations too. J-Lo, stripping away that type of belief for a little over 3.5. And you know what? It is ongoing. So please keep doing it. Have a sense of, be gentle with yourselves and go at it with a sense of curiosity, and it's all good. It's all okay. And this is why I talk about just accepting all parts of yourself without judgment, because we want to just allow all parts of ourselves to be true. So were there any other questions?
Yes, there was another question, and Lisa says on Facebook, I actually have the same gate in the moon, but that I said, Cindy said that the numbers can never be the same. The numbers, the moon, and your moon can be the same number as your sun or as your earth.
Yes.
As those are, the moon could be conjunct the sun at the time, but I'll explain what I was saying, and I probably didn't, is that the black, so your soul sun can never be the same as your life sun, because there's always 88 astrological degrees separation between those. So there'll be a different gate. But you can have in your human design chart, yes, you can have your moon could be the same gate as any one of as your sun, as your earth, or you can have repeating gates within these planetary symbols. And all that means, thanks, Cindy. And all that means is really that it's a very strong theme in your chart. So it's something to be a little more curious about. So how do you find what the numbers mean? So higher up in the chat, Tabitha, there is a link to Karen's, where did I put it in here? Karen's companion book to the gate definitions. This is what it looks like right here. And she also has some lovely cards. I had them out. And it comes with a little tiny, I've got the little mini version of the companion book. So this is actually a great thing to carry around, so you can actually look at your gate definitions. There are the resiliency keys that are attached. There's some affirmations and some further contemplations. So really, really good information in there. Okay, thanks, Cindy, for posting that again. So
Anybody have any other questions? I think the takeaway that I want to leave you with is that this is a tool. It's not the end all and be all. Human design is really, it's a blueprint. It's a blueprint of your expression. And there's so many different ways that you can use your human design to help expand your expression of who you are. And with the layers and the beliefs, the patterns, and the habits, you can start to use your human design. And this is a concept that I just came up with, and a different way of using 3 things from the chart, basically your 6 gates from your sun, your earth, and your moon, to help you uncover those beliefs.
Brittany had asked her, can you remind me of the order of what the sun, moon, earth is to the ambidu?
The ambidu, yeah. I'm going to go back to that slide right now. Okay. So the sun is in the center, the earth is in the middle, and the moon is on the outer. And the outer expression is the am. So the way we want to express ourselves is from the center outwards. It's the ambidu. 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 You just say it a few times and you'll remember it. This is the
fun to say it too. Ambidu.
This is the ambidu. Ambidu. What's your ambidu? So this is what you can go away and play with. Get your human design. Go grab a Kindle, or I think that I'm not sure if it's available in other forms of download, but get this book. It's genius. Karen is genius for changing all these gate descriptions and making them more, I think, accessible. That's kind of the word that comes to me, is they make more sense. And use this concept, play with it. Let me know how you like it, right? Just reach out, put a comment on the Facebook post later on, or just come and find me and message me, because it's like, I like the ambidu. This is your ambidu, you know, and it's kind of catchy. It's just like, am I living from an expression of I am to be and do? When I am the expression, I can be the person and do the thing. And using that phrase every single day in what you're doing. And it's a check-in. And it gets you curious, and it just start asking more questions. Okay. That was all I had, Cindy.
It was wonderful. Thank you. Let's see.
I was talking slowly today too.
There was a lot of information, and it was a new way for me to look at it. Thank you very much. Again, the replay will be posted on, the replay will be automatically about when we're completed on the Karen Curry Parker Facebook page. You want to see the replay there, and we'll send the replay out via email on Sunday.
Awesome.
Are the keys or cards?
Oh, there's both. Keys?
The
there's
resiliency,
cards.
Yeah, the cards, I think those are quantum activation cards. And then what Liz was talking about is, Karen, with the cards, you get the guidebook, but I wanted to make the guidebook more accessible and easier to read in a slightly bigger format. So it's in a 6x9 format.
Yeah,
that's available.
This is a great little companion book too. It's a little smaller. So yeah.
And thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Oh, book, not or cards. Yeah, there's both, Sunny. Yeah. Well, thank you everybody for listening to me. And please, again, if you are interested in doing a little bit of work on your beliefs, patterns, and habits, that's what I do, break them down. And did we put the link in there for people to reach out?
I did. I'm looking for it again.
I might not have.
Again.
So I probably forgot to give it to you. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stop my share. because then I can actually, it's funny.
I've got it.
Here we are. I'm going to just pop this into the chat, and we can also pop it into the Facebook group, or I can add it in later as well, Cindy.
I posted it.
Thank you. What would we do without Cindy? She's amazing. Thank you, Cindy.
Oh, well, thank you. And thank you, everyone. Have a great
Thanks, everybody.
Friday.
All right. Bye.